what do you think, you the people? What do you think about this topic, all right? Before I even get started, right? Y'all kind of know my stance on this. I've said this on many videos before in times past, but I personally believe that a real man is a man who puts the Most High first. So, if that's the case, I'm going to go to the Bible. I'm just going to read just quick, just to set up the actual platform here, right? Because again, we're talking about masculinity. So, I can't think of any other way to really describe masculinity other than just going to the Bible. All right. Now, before I even read some of these verses, I must say this, right? I believe personally that because in the very beginning of the time, the Most High said it is not good for man to be alone. Therefore, he created Eve, the woman, right? So I do not believe in topics like this regarding masculinity. I don't think it's even possible to accurately talk about masculinity as if masculinity exists in a vacuum on its own, right? Because I don't think that's the case. With that being said, I personally believe that in order for you to actually understand what true masculinity is, what a man is, then you must actually understand his duty, his role, and responsibilities in relation to the woman, because that is the dichotomy that actually exists, right? For example, we're not like these other organisms that are asexual, right? In other words, it's just one, gender, if I could use that word, right? In which case, then you can't really explain what is the feminine or masculine in such a species, because it's asexual. But for us, we do have two, and there is only two. Let's make that very clear, right? But let's see some of these verses and what the Bible actually has to say. So, Exodus 21 verse 9 to 11, it says, "And if he have betrothed her unto his son, he shall deal with her after the manner of daughters." Verse 10, "If he take him another wife." Now, he, the man, right? If the man takes him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall not be diminished. So there you can clearly see that this is why you probably hear over and over that men must provide, because again, it is established from the Bible itself. It says that men gotta make sure that they provide food, raiment, right, some type of covering of some sort, clothes, shelter, and her duty of marriage shall not diminish. So conjugal rights, man, right? So that means that man must be able to perform, make sure that, sex, right? And if he does not these three unto her, then shall she go out free without money. So as you can see, that if a man does not provide these things, that it is grounds that she can go free, right? That is evident. So in other words, sometimes I hear in the conversations, women, or rather I should say men, they get mad because women are gold diggers, right? And I actually don't agree. Now, are there gold diggers that exist? Yeah, sure, but I think we live in a world today where men want to throw that word out so loosely, like women are gold diggers, when in actuality, women just need some type of provision. They just need some type of provision. So if you're a man and you can't provide not a damn thing, then you're not qualified. You're just not qualified to be a man. So I actually don't blame these women, all right? But let's look at another verse, right? We have Ephesians 5, verse 25 to 29. And I promise you, we're going to do this quick because I'm not going to dwell on this too long. I just want to set the atmosphere of what I personally believe is a masculine man, right? So it says, "Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her." So again, you could kind of see that, in my personal opinion, if you are masculine, you must exhibit some level of sacrifice on behalf of your family. Like, you must be willing to at least do that, right? You're going to sacrifice yourself, whether it be going to work, whether it's hunting, whatever the case may be, but you're going to sacrifice yourself the same way Christ sacrificed himself for the church. That he might sanctify and cleanse her with the washing of the water by the word. Now, this is another part that I think is important, because I think sometimes, men, especially in this generation, They want to deal with these women, but they're unwilling to actually invest in them. They don't try to pour into these women. They just want to have sex with them and then call it a day. Hey, what's going on, Lloyd supporter? But yeah, they just have sex with these women and they call it a day. They don't actually want to invest in actually trying to actually teach these women. And I think that's absolutely sickening. But continue. That he might present her to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that she should be holy and without blemish. So husbands ought to love their own wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself, for no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes it and cherishes it, just as the Lord does the church. Now, I think this is important. I wanted to add that there. Why? Because, again, man, if you are a man, and you have to resort to constantly abusing your wife, whether it's verbally or physically, I don't think that's masculine energy. I think there's a lot of times in this generation, men think it's masculine because they'll beat their chest and, oh, I'm the man, and they start screaming and all this stuff, hollering at their women just to get them to do something, and that is not masculinity at all, right? And first and foremost, if you have a wife, which, a matter of fact, let me actually go to the next verse because it's going to explain it very clear. All right, so you have Colossians 3, verse 18 and 19. Wives, submit to your own husbands as it is fitting in the Lord. So why is that important? Again, that's the next part I was going to enter. You have a wife. There should be no reason why you need to resort to screaming and hollering or yanking her or whatever the case is, resorting to verbal abuse or physical abuse, because the wife is supposed to submit. Period, point blank. She is supposed to submit unto this man. All right. Now, if you end up realizing that you have to even resort to screaming and hollering and all this other stuff, then hey, pretty much, man, you done found out that you don't got a wife. That's pretty much it. You don't got a wife because she clearly does not want to submit. And the last one I really want to point out to you is this, right? You have 1 Peter 3, verse 7, and it says, husbands likewise deal with them with understanding, giving honor to the wife as the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your praise may not be hindered. Again, I wanted to simply add that there because, again, if you are masculine and you feel that you need to resort to a physical abuse, and I'm really stressing this out because, again, we live in a society today where there are so many broken homes, and men, they grew up with their moms, and they tend to be very emotional and very sensitive. So now when they deal with women, rather than just being able to logically speak to women, they have to resort to violence. And that is not masculinity. And a lot of men might say, oh, well, we know this already. But hey, what's it called? I don't even remember the term. It'll probably come to me later. But abuse does exist within households. So let's make that very clear. But with that being said, I would really love to hear from you all. What do you guys think, right? Because again, this is my personal belief. This is what I personally believe masculinity is. So if you enjoyed this clip, click on the full video right here. And if you would like to see more videos like this, click on the playlist right here. Game hard, y'all.